what to do, boys.
When do we start?
I'll give you the signal. Paul, you stay with me. Keep everything covered. I'll take it all, Dad.
Don't you dad me. Man and boy, I've opened this bank every morning for 30 years. I ain't never been stuck up, and I'm too darned old to start now. Ain't no use destroying property. That pencil would have lasted me another month yet.
All right, Dad. Shove it over.
You ain't been brung up proper.
Shooting at each other. That's that setter fellow, ain't it? Yeah, well, he's acting downright dishonest. He ought to be plumb ashamed of himself. You're the one I know where they'll head for. Come on.
Mighty nice of the sheriff to ride on by. It'll take him quite a while to pick up our trail again. Feels like there's plenty there for all of us.
You know, we could have made a clean getaway if it hadn't been for poor old Baldy.
The funny thing about Baldy, I was telling him only last week, there wasn't any use for him to save his money.
So far, everything's worked out just fine. That's right. I couldn't have done no better myself. Easy, Setter. I'd sure hate bad to have to shoot a right nice fella like you. You're covered plenty. I figured you fellas would head for here. That's what I'd have done.
You know, partner, I knew a fella once that sat down on one of these things and blew his thumb clean off.
Right nice of you to go to all this trouble, Setter. And don't think I'm not much obliged to you.
You're winning this time, Nevada. The next time I run across you, it's going to be my turn.
If I was you, I wouldn't stop riding till I was clean out of this state.
And don't let this slip your mind. I'll be getting you one of these days.
The trouble with you, Setter, is you don't stay with your trade. You're probably one of the best horse thieves in the whole doggone West. From now on, you'd better stick to it. But right now, you'd better get going, because Sheriff Jim Henry's got a one-track mind. If I was you, I'd go 1,000 miles away from here. Goodbye, Mr. Setter.
We must have overrode this trail, I reckon. You boys fan out. We'll go back a ways and pick it up.
Well, let's see what that fellow Setter was doing in that bank.
I thought you said Sheriff Jim Henry was on the trail.
I was just joking. Takes old Jim 3 days to make up his mind. You know, Weary, I've been thinking. Maybe you and me ought to try South America for a while.
Oh, that's a good idea. I've always had a hankering to eat some of that Spanish food.
Yeah, they tell me the girls are right pretty down there. What's the matter? Practicing the fandango already, you old idiot? Now, where did that thing come from?
Where do you suppose it come from? Now, listen to reason, Sheriff. Nevada and me ain't done no harm. We was just trying to help you.
Yeah, we just been talking about you. We decided to sit here and wait until you caught up with us.
I just happened to hear what you said about South America. You know, I had some plans in the back of my head for you, Nevada. I was hoping you got around to cutting out your devils. You sure turned out a mighty disappointment to me.
I reckon you figure we ought to go back to town with you.
Old Judge Hooker'd be powerful grateful if you did. Hey, Sheriff! Up there, boys.
Now you got us all wrong, Jim. You know, we're going to let you take all the credit for getting this money back. Yeah, we're in me riding.
Where's Paul?
Him and Sam are on guard up the pass. Paul's been kind of jumpy since we got in this country. Tell him I want to see him when he gets in.
Going any place in particular?
Yes, I'm going to Forlorn River.
You know this country pretty well?
No, this is my first trip in.
A little off the beaten path, ain't you?
I guess I won't get lost.
Just to make sure you won't, you're going back the other way. This is private property, stranger.
I wouldn't go back 25 miles for anybody. If you step to one side, I'll be on my way.
Maybe you're right. Good luck. Reckon that stopped him from doing any talking?
Sometimes I think you're too handy with your gun, Bill. You think you had to kill him?
Don't remember thinking much about it. This is the best place we found to hole up in since we crossed the state line. I figure there's no sense in letting anyone know he was here. One man more or less in this country don't mean nothing.
This one might.
Well, meaning just what?
He was David Ward, government man from Fort Apache. Over here to buy horses for the Army.
You told me it was his first trip through this section.
It was. This was to introduce him to old man Blaine at Forlorn River. He's going to buy his horses.
You reckon old man Blaine was expecting that fella?
That's what this letter says.
Well, then let's burn that paper and get busy before anyone starts asking questions.
Now, don't get in a hurry. I'm thinking.
Thinking what?
You stay here and look after the boys for a while.
You ain't gonna leave, are you?
Yeah. I got an idea, and I'm going to do something about it.
How many head of horses do you need, Mr. Ward?
All the good ones we can get. You know the officers at Fort Apache are particular about quality.
Yeah, Army regulations, I suppose. Well, I've got about 800 head. Sound animals, every one of them.
I could use twice that many. Where would you suggest my getting the rest of them?
Quite a few herds scattered around among the ranches in the valley. Mr. Winters, Mr. Lee have several hundred more.
I'd like to buy from someone I know, like yourself, Mr. Blaine. You're highly recommended. I can depend on you.
That goes for most of the ranches in this country.
I'm glad to hear that. Suppose you could get them to throw their herds in with yours, then I can buy them all from you?
Reckon that'd work out all right.
Well, it'll be a convenience to me and probably work out satisfactorily for you.
Then we'll call it a deal.
That's right. It is a deal.
When do you want them?
I want to leave here in about 10 days. Can you have them rounded up and ready by that time?
I think we can do that. Start getting them in first thing in the morning.
I'll see you the first thing in the morning, then.
No such thing, Mr. Ward. Why not make your headquarters right here at my ranch?
Well, that's very kind of you, but I've already made arrangements in town. I'll be by, though, to see you get started.
All right, Mr. Ward.
This the Blaine Ranch?
Yep.
A fella here named Ben-Eyed?
Yep.
Hey, you reckon I could see him?
Yep.
Maybe if you put a nickel in, they'll play you a tune. You find Ben Ide over there in those trees, getting things ready for the barbecue. You mean there's going to be meat eating and all that sort of thing going on? Hog ham and heifer. Maybe a little bear meat with wildcat gravy.
Thanks. Don't pay any attention to us, Ben. Just pretend we ain't here.
Oh, Nevada, you old coyote.
Hiya, Ben.
Thought you fellas were 1,000 miles away. What are you doing here?
Oh, just started in this direction. Couldn't seem to stop. You know how it is. Just drifting around.
Well, we was on our way to South America, but the fellow that was putting up the money run out on us.
This is Miss Ida Blaine. My,
Sure. When you two get grown up, maybe your dad's going to let you get married. This is Mr. Weary Pierce.
Hello, Mom.
Hello. How'd you ever find Ben way out here?
Oh, it was just an accident. We was over in Forlorn River this morning. The fellow told us Ben was the foreman of this outfit.
We heard you was going to have a barbecue, and we thought maybe you could use a couple of top hands.
You mean you want to go to work?
No, Weary means he really wants to go to eat. He's always hungry.
Seriously, how about giving me a hand? In a few days, we're starting the biggest drive this outfit's ever handled.
Horses?
Horses for the Army at Fort Apache. That's why we're celebrating.
How about it?
Oh, I'm so hungry, I'm afraid I can't fight back. I guess we'll have to go to work.
When do we start?
Right now.
Put your horses over in the corral and come back here and help us get things ready.
Right.
Your friend Weary seems to be suffering from a budding romance. Looks like love at first sight.
I never knew Weary to be interested in women before. Who is she?
Well, that's Miss Millie, our cook.
Weary's case, that about explains everything. Thank you.
You're fast on your feet, Mr. Pierce.
Oh, shucks, that ain't nothing. You ought to see me after that.
Well, you just ate.
Oh, that was just a snack. I'm starving right now. If you'll excuse me, Miss
Well,
Millie.
this is only our third dance. You can eat any time.
Oh, but Miss Millie,
Let's just dance, Mr. Pierce. I'm sorry, Mr. Pierce. I didn't know I was going to...
Hello, Sheriff.
Hello, Zane. Hello, it is.
Hello.
Shake hands with Mr. Ward.
How are you? I don't know you, Sheriff.
Good eat.
Things are getting underway. Looks like they're having a right nice time.
They're celebrating. You know, Ward, this horse deal is going to bring a lot of money into this community.
Well, for one, I'm plenty obliged to you.
Glad I'm in a position to do it, Mr. Winters.
Hello. This country's crawling with skunks and centipedes. Come on, let's get out of here. Take it easy. But you can't have no shooting scrape at a party.
I reckon Weary and me will be running along.
Oh, but you're not going to leave the party. Besides, you haven't finished eating yet.
Yeah, what's the big hurry?
Well, Weary here is overed again. It's giving him the stomachache.
Oh, wait a minute. Here's the boss. I want you to meet him before you go. Oh, Mr. Blaine.
What is it, man?
Having a nice time, Miss Ina?
Yes, thank you.
Well, Mr. Blaine, this is Nevada and Weary.
How do you do?
Glad to know you both.
And this is Mr. David Ward.
I beg pardon, I didn't get that name.
David Ward.
David Ward. Oh, yes, David Ward. You know, for a minute I thought you was an old friend of mine.
Your mistake. I'm sure I'd remembered if I'd ever been a friend of yours.
Mr. Ward's the man who's buying our horses for the Army.
That's so. Been buying horses very long, Mr. Ward?
Quite a while. Interesting business, too.
Reckon you have to go a long way sometimes to find good ones.
Sometimes you have to go a long way to get what you want. Have you got a dance with me, Miss Ina?
Better not let the boys dance too much, Ben. Lots of work to do in the morning.
I've got everything all set. I'm taking on Nevada and Weary here for the drive. They're top hand, and we'll need them.
I'm glad to have you with us, boys. We can always use good men.
This is a great country out here, Miss Anna.
You really like it?
Well enough to want to settle down and live here.
Well, I'm sure folks would be glad to have you.
Would you?
How long you say Ward's been out here?
Came in about a week ago.
You've been working pretty fast.
I saw it so myself several times. The boss seems to think pretty well of himself. Says he knows his business.
I don't doubt it.
You thought you'd seen him before, didn't you?
Looks like a fella I run across in a banking deal once.
According to the boss, Ward's been with the government quite a while.
Reckon he knows a lot about horses. Maybe I can get him to give me some pointers.
Weary, let's get going.
Good evening, Mr. Ward. You know, what you said about buying horses kind of interested me. I thought maybe I could help you buy them.
Why don't you stay out of this, Nevada? It's none of your business.
Maybe not. Up to the time when it begins to interfere with an old friend of mine.
Blaine?
No, Ben Ives.
My business is with Blaine. Ben Ives got nothing to do with it.
Just to make sure, I guess you better tell me what's stampeding around in that crooked mind of yours.
You should talk about crooked minds. I haven't forgotten what you did to me the last time I saw you.
For which you promised to shoot me on sight. Well, what's stopping you?
All right, you've had your joke. Now let's get down to business.
Yeah. What is this business of yours, buying horses for the Army?
That's straight.
It couldn't be.
Here are my credentials. The Army thinks I'm all right. So does Mr. Blaine and the rest of the people around here. And so do you. Chances favor there's more money posted on your face around this country than there is on mine. Now, you handle yourself right, and we'll get along together.
No, I don't think I'll take any part of you right now, Stetter. But I'll be around. I might even join the Army to see what you're doing.
Well, I didn't hear no shooting.
Give me time. Just give me time.
So Sutter was trying to tell you he was a reformed man. For a man that ain't above hiding rattlesnakes in his grandmamma's wheelchair, that's sure funny goings on.
Take it easy today, Sam. Your brands yesterday were a little uneven.
Works perfect today.
I thought maybe you forgot we was up here.
I've been busy.
I've been wondering what you've been doing, Setter.
For the time being, my name's Ward. I'm buying Blaine's horses for the Army. If we're ready to take the trail in a day or two.
Easy of that, huh?
This is going to be the biggest deal we've ever put over.
Blaine rounds up the horses for you, and we take them, huh?
Yeah, right. Then we sell them to the Army ourselves.
Not Fort Apache. That's where this fellow Ward came from.
No. We'll run them to Fort Laramie, Wyoming.
Not a cloud in your sky, nor not in your road.
Yeah, just one. Nevada showed up at Forlorn River.
And you shot him?
No. That's what you're going to do.
Feather, that's what I'd call first-class reforming.
Fine stock, Mr. Blaine. The officers at Fort Apache will be well pleased.
Well, I hope so. I don't mind telling you, Ward, that every dollar I've got is running down that canyon right now. Well, you're moving them right out. Never saw them round up any smoother.
We had a little trouble over the ridge just now.
Didn't lose any horses.
No, but we nearly lost Nevada here. Somebody took a shot at him.
Probably some of the boys hazing the horses with their guns. I've told them not to do that.
Wasn't any of our boys. I've checked up with them.
You weren't hit, were you?
No, just knocked the dust out of my hat.
Well, probably some hunter moving around. Bullets come from a long ways off sometimes.
I guess you're right. This one must have come from just about 1,000 miles.
Good thing you can joke about it. If it was me, I'd be looking up the man that held that gun.
I'm planning on doing just that.
Well, keep the horses going, boys. It probably won't happen again in 10 years.
Yes, sir.
That bothers me. Who do you suppose took a shot at him?
I'm surprised that fellow Nevada hasn't been shot long ago. I haven't wanted to annoy you with this, Mr. Blaine, but I knew the minute I saw him with your riders last night you were in for trouble.
Why, you know the man?
First time I ever saw him in my life. But I know his reputation. He always manages to show up wherever the Army's buying horses. Usually some of them disappear.
You sure you're right? Ben Ide told me he'd known Nevada for years, that he's a good friend of his.
I'm sorry to hear that. You're sure of young Ide, aren't you?
Well, of course. He's been with me for 3 years, almost like one of the family. You must be mistaken about Nevada, Ward.
Now, he answers the description of the fellow I'm talking about.
That's a right nice song, boys. Thanks.
He likes it because it's Miss Ina's favorite.
Yeah, he's a hoping she was a listener.
Uh-oh. I reckon she was.
You'll be gone a long time, Ben.
It'll sure seem that way to me.
I'm sorry you're going. But in a way, I'm glad.
Just what is it you're trying to tell me?
Oh, it isn't anything, really.
You mean Ward, don't you?
Yes. He imagines he's fallen in love with me.
I reckon you can't hold it against him. I did that myself.
I think I'll be happier when he's gone, though.
You can quit worrying in 2 or 3 days. They'll be all rounded up and ready to go.
Now, remember, you're not to elope with any of those good-looking Arizona girls.
I kind of intended to get married right here. Maybe when I get back.
Maybe you will.
Of course, it's your business, Mr. Blaine. But since I've been out here, I've come to think mighty well of you and your little family. I'd hate to have anything go wrong with this horse deal.
What can go wrong?
The contract calls for payment when the horses are safely delivered to Fort Apache. Until that time, the risk is all yours.
Still worrying about that fellow Nevada?
I'm not worried. That's your lookout.
Well, I'll take the risk with Ben Ide on the job. Nevada or nobody else will fool him.
Probably not. Unless, of course, he decides to fool himself.
It'd be pretty hard to prove to me that Ben would ever do that.
I hope I'm wrong.
Good night, Ben.
Good night, Ina.
Good night.
Good night, Miss Ina.
Good night, Dad.
Good night, honey. What's your hurry, Ben?
I reckon I'll be riding the number 1 herd myself tonight. They've been getting restless. Good night.
Good night.
Can't you make up your mind?
When I'm eating this here lemon pie, something inside of me tells me it's the best. Then I get a piece of the apple, and I'm all confused again.
What you need, Weary, is a woman to make up your mind for you. I've been wondering how you missed marrying a good cook a long time ago.
You know, that very same thought has just been coming to me.
Oh, it's lovely to cook for a man who knows good food. I've been depending on your opinion of my pies.
And I ain't going to turn you down either. Now, you just get me another slice of each of these to sort of make my mind up on.
Weary! Oh, Weary!
The man I marry will never go hungry.
Weary!
Excuse me, Mom. I'll try and be back later for a snack.
What do you want? You've come between me and my victuals.
Come on, we're riding herd with Ben tonight.
I see Benite's taking company with him.
Anything wrong with that?
Money does strange things to men sometimes, Mr. Blaine. Even good men.
What's the matter with you, Nevada? You getting a little timid in your old age?
Meaning just what?
Well, it seems like that Sutter fella is kind of pushing you around.
Right now, Sutter has a top spot with the folks around here. I'm not fool enough to believe I can talk him down.
Shooting your hat off doesn't seem to make you very mad, does it?
When Sutter plays his hand, I'll be setting in. If I don't like it, I'll call him.
Well, I guess that's a good poker plan.
Evening, Ben. Oh, hello, Mr. Ward. You're riding late tonight.
You seem busy yourself. Where are your night hawks?
They're out holding the herd.
I'm going to start checking horses tomorrow. Mr. Blaine asked me to ride over and tell you to have 100 head of his best stock over in Mesquite Canyon by 2 o'clock tomorrow. I'll be there myself to pick them out.
Mesquite Canyon? That's funny.
Why funny?
Oh, it's quite a bit out of the way. On the trail across the mountain.
That's what Mr. Blaine wants.
These horses to be from Mr. Blaine's herd?
Doesn't make any difference. Just pick your best ones.
You can depend upon them being there. You want you to step down and have some coffee?
No, thanks. I'll be getting along. Good night.
How much farther is Mesquite Canyon?
Up around the shoulder of that next hill.
Ah.
Get those branding irons.
They're coming.
Come on, Sam. This ain't going to be no safe place for honest folks.
What do you make of it, Sheriff?
Well, they come this way, all right. They're heading for Mesquite Canyon.
Well, I'd rather lose every head of stock I've got than to believe that Ben-Ide would steal my horses.
That may be your idea, but I feel different. Some of them's my horses.
Horses, none of my business. I haven't bought the horses yet. You don't care whether they're stolen or not. That's your lookout.
Come on.
Hey, when are you going to cook some lunch?
As soon as Ward gets through checking these horses.
There's a fire over there. Looks like they got here ahead of us.
What's it look like to you, Ben?
Looks like Mr. Blaine's getting ready to do some branding.
You mean Blaine's going to put the army brand on them horses before the drive starts?
Will I see it?
That's a new one on me. Maybe Mr. Ward's a different kind of army buyer. That ain't no army brand.
I ain't never seen one like that before.
You mean horse thieves?
Well, I've heard of such fellas.
I'm sorry this strike's so close to home, Mr. Blaine. But it looks like the information I got this morning was pretty straight.
Glad you got here, Mr. Blaine. I think we've run across some horse thieves.
Well, that's what we think.
How many horses you got with you?
About 100 head.
Well, you got to hand it to them. It looks like they picked the best of the bunch.
What are you doing with them up here?
Well, those are Mr. Blaine's orders.
I'm sorry, Ben. I didn't believe that this could happen.
I suppose he told you to change the brand on them, too.
Now get this straight. Last night, Mr. Ward brought me word that this is what Mr. Blaine wanted done. When we got the stock here, this fire was going and these eyes were in it.
Of course, you know that's nonsense.
Well, you dirty lying skunk.
Take it easy, Ben. Don't go picking on Mr. Ward. I got plans for him.
I'd rather not get mixed up in this. I can always buy horses somewhere else.
Hey, a deal's a deal, Mr. Ward, and we're holding you to it. I reckon we know how to take care of horse thieves. Take 'em back to town.
All right. Put him up, all three of you.
That's my pie. I should kill you for that.
All right, get on your horses and head for town.
Fourth time running, I've drawn the ace of spades.
Looks like old man Bad Luck's got you with a seat of the britches. Drive starts tomorrow afternoon.
That's good news. I'm worn out waiting.
You and Sam will stay in town. With Nevada in jail, I plan on your taking his place in the drive.
Suits me. I love horses.
Now, this is the idea. You and Sam ride out and ask Blaine for a job tomorrow, just as the herd starts moving. He'll need hands. Now, Duke, get this straight. I figure the drive will reach Superstition Pass day after tomorrow, about noon. Be there in plenty of time. When the raid starts, send half the boys after Blaine's riders. Hold them off and shoot straight.
What about the horses?
As soon as the shooting starts, have Shorty and the rest of the boys run the herd out of the pass.
Now, that leaves a pretty broad trail.
So spread them out. Fan them over rocky flats. Then bunch them up again and get them out of the hills. Have you got that? Practically done. And no mistakes this time. That goes for everybody. Duke, you better start back to Hidden Valley. Now, you two make yourselves scarce until it's time for you.
You know, Burley, the main thing I got against staying in jail is it don't give me time enough to decide which is your pie to the best. Now, on the other hand, if I had one of them apple pies you bake, then maybe I'd be able to decide for certain which was which.
I'll bake your pie every hour, Weary, if it'll make you any happier.
Too bad, Miss Millie. You don't know how to make real apple pie. Now, wait a minute, Miss Millie. Down where I come from, they sometimes make extra special apple pies. You know, it's the filling in a pie that counts. Now, if you was to bake an apple pie with the right kind of apples, you might give Weary something that really stick to a man's ribs.
Yeah, I'd even be willing to share that sort of pie with Nevada here.
You mean,
Of course, it's just an idea. But for a fella in Weary's fix, accused of horse stealing and liable to be lynched, it's time to do some extra fancy baking.
I'm beginning to get a new outlook on life.
Time to go, Miss Millie. I reckon you folks talked long enough now.
Oh, thank you, Sheriff. I have to get back to my baking. I'm going to bring the boys another pie the first thing tomorrow morning.
I was just trying to decide which one of her pies was the champion.
Well, for a fellow that ain't going to get no pie for the next 20 years, you certainly got a lot of curiosity about it.
Well, goodbye, boys. I'll see you early tomorrow.
Goodbye, Millie. Go on, girlie. She's as pretty as a spotted pony. Let's hope she's got as much sense.
I hope I'm not too much bother, Sheriff.
Oh, no. Every pie you bring them fellas cuts the county food bill down just that much. You know, that fellow Weary has had almost everything in town now.
Hey, Sheriff.
Yeah.
Got a complaint to make.
What's gnawing at you now?
We thought maybe you'd let us have Ben Ide in here with us.
What for?
Like a third-handed poker.
We've been playing old maid so long we're all wore out.
I reckon you fellas caused enough trouble when you three were together before. Say, there ain't nobody ever made a fool out of me yet. And I'm too old to start now.
That's a pretty nice record.
Ben Ide stays in his own cell, and you stay in yours.
Dad, you're not going without doing something for Ben, are you? Oh, but I tell you, Dad, Ben couldn't have had anything to do with stealing those horses.
There's no use of going over all that again. I'm afraid this is something that I can't do anything about.
But we know Ben, Dad. He couldn't do such a thing. You know he couldn't.
Yeah, I've tried to believe that. If it was only me, Ben could go his way unharmed no matter what he had done.
Ben is not a horse thief.
Listen, Ina, you can't refuse to take the word of a man like Ward. Why, he heard the whole plot.
I don't believe him. I never trusted him.
Well, I wish Winters and some of the others felt the same way about it.
Winter?
Why, some of those horses belong to him, and he's very bitter about it. I'm afraid that Ben is going to have to stay in jail and stand trial just the same as anybody else. Well, I've got to go now, honey. Goodbye, and take care of yourself.
It'll be a long drive, Mr. Blaine, but it'll be worth it.
It's just about the biggest thing that ever happened in Forlorn River.
Better tell Winters not to move him too fast. We don't want to thin him out.
Oh, he knows that without telling. We'll take every hoof of him into Fort Apache in good shape.
You, Mr. Blaine?
I'm Blaine.
We heard you could use a couple of men on this drive, so we rode right over.
Well, it's a long ride. Do you think you can make it?
We're saddle broke.
That's good. Report to Mr. Winters down there. He's moving the herd.
Here it is. Glad you knew where to look for it. Hurry, Miss Millie, before somebody comes. This sugar syrup will seal it so nobody can tell the difference. Get me the largest plate you can find. Here. I'll give it to Ben. He'll know what to do with it. You'll do no such thing. This is Weary's pie. I'll take it myself. One look at your scared face and Sheriff Gurney would suspect the whole thing. Do you think so? I know it. Oh.
Looks like they're going to make an example out of them, fellers. Forlorn River is going to be known as the toughest place in the West for horse thieves. Wouldn't surprise me if they hung them.
Good morning, Sheriff. Good morning, Hank.
Good morning, Miss Millie.
I brought the boys the pie I promised.
You're too good-hearted, Miss Millie. Well, you have to take a little look. Jail regulations. You understand. Well, sure a healthy looking animal.
Yes, I made a big one on purpose. Poor boys, they can use it.
But some fitting to eat. Hank, suppose suppose we have a sliver of it, eh?
Don't you dare put that knife in this pie.
Well, why not?
Well, you've been cutting chewing tobacco with it.
That adds a little flavor to it. Here. All right, Miss Millie. Nobody but that fella where he could eat pie at us or in the morning anyhow.
Can I go in now?
Just put it down there. I'll take it in directly. I'll be back as well, Sheriff. All right, Hank.
Well, this pie is steaming hot, and if you think I'm going to let it sit here and get cold, you're mistaken.
All right, Miss Millie. But don't blame me if them boys are still in their nightgowns. Come on.
Here it comes.
Get back from the door.
Here's your pie.
Gee, thanks, Miss Millie. I'm sure this is going to be my favorite.
Well, eat hearty, boys. Say, it wouldn't hurt you none to save me a piece of that pie.
Reckon I'll be doing that, Sheriff.
Just so as you'll have something to remember us by.
Thanks a lot, Miss Millie.
It's in here all right. She weighs a ton.
Boy, if the sheriff had got his hands on this, we'd have been gone roosters.
Well, how'll we go about it?
Say, remember that time we was in jail down in Amarillo?
Sheriff. Hey, Salim and I home like this, but we want to see the world. You know, go places. And you can't do this to me. I'm the sheriff. Cut off somebody. Get me out of here, son. I'll arrest you for this. Get me out of here. Come on out of there, boy. I'll never forget you for this, Millie. Thanks, Millie. Same here. So long, girlie.
Hey, ain't you forgot something?
I know what you mean, but I ain't got time. Where are we headed for? Mr. Ward. I got business with him. Sure took your time getting me out of jail there. I've been for blacksmith, you'd be in there yet. Look. I smell bacon a-cooking. You wait here. I'll be back. Here we've been on the trail nearly 2 solid months. And what's it got us? Chet, I told you when we left. I aim to keep the trail till I got Les Sutter, and I'm doing just that. I want Les Sutter worse than I ever wanted any man before. As long as he's loose, he's just plain poison. It ain't easy for a gang the size of Sutter's to ride through the country without folks taking notice. You boys keep right on eating just like nothing was happening, but there's a gun sticking in the back of my neck.
I'd like to have a talk with you, Jim Henry.
Shucks, it's Nevada. Come on out and talk. You can eat while you're doing it. Did you have to stick that gun in the back of my neck?
I just wanted you to know how I felt when you did that to me back yonder.
Get your nose in that feed trough.
Ain't got time. Jim, I'd like to make you a little proposition.
I wonder what's keeping Nevada.
Sheriff Grundy's broke jail. Come on.
You made a long trip for Sutter, and I'm telling you how to get him. And if it'll make you feel any better, you can take me back, too.
Sounds all right to me.
Riders coming up the trail. Let's move on.
Hurry up, boys. want to shoot me?
Boss, it's a posse from Forlorn River. They're after worrying me.
Well, ain't no hick sheriff going to chase me. I'll let them know who I am.
They'll shoot you first and listen to you after. Better play this my way.
There ain't nothing but trouble wherever you are.
Where are you planning on making camp tonight?
Pretty soon after we get through Superstition Pass. Good grazing, plenty of water.
Better send a couple of boys up ahead to hold them back when they get in the open.
I've already done that.
You better begin to pick yourself a good rock to hide behind.
Remember your orders. Fine, Sam. You can stick together. And this time, don't waste ammunition on people's hats.
Here they come. Now, don't forget what I told you. Be sure who you're shooting at.
Hey, Shorty says to tell you it's all set. He'll cut the herd as soon as your boys start shooting.
You won't have long to wait.
That's terrible. Keep that up and you're liable to stampede the herd.
That's opera music. Horses love it. Only mules like you can't appreciate good music when you hear it.
Buying horses for the army.
Yeah, come on with it.
There's your horses, Mr. Blaine. I kind of worked up an appetite getting them, though.
Mr. Sutter here is yearning to reform. Thought maybe you could help him, Jim Henry.
I'm going to be proud to help him.
Hey, what's going on here?
Well, some of us have been making fools of ourselves, and you arrived here just in time to be counted in.
Me?
Come on, Sutter.
Sutter?
Yeah?
He is Sutter.
Yeah.
You're under arrest.
I've already arrested him.
Yeah, well, he's in my county. Come on with me.
My county has a charge against him ahead of you.
Is that so? But we got it in my county.
Now,
didn't we?
don't argue with
I ain't
me.
arguing with anybody. He's coming with
You
me.
listen to what I
Come
say.
on. This feller was arrested in my county, and here he stays till I hang him.
I've had a warrant for Les Sutter since before you quit wearing three-corner pants, and I'm taking him home with me.
And I'm filing charges against him right here for murder.
Look, Sheriff, Jim Henry has trailed this hombre 1,000 miles.
Well, he might have done the trailing, but I am doing the hanging.
Suppose you boys divide Sutter. There's a $2,000 reward out for him. Jim takes him home, collects the reward, sends him back to you, and you hang him.
That's so, Sheriff?
You can depend on it.
Well, don't forget, I'll be waiting for him.
Goodbye, Ben.
Goodbye, Nevada.
Goodbye, Miss Ina. I'll be back one of these days.
Sorry you're going.
I'm mighty grateful to you. You saved me a lot of horses and a son-in-law. Goodbye.
Goodbye, sir.
It's going to be wonderful, Weary. Better than roaming all over the country with that fellow Nevada.
It's going to make me mighty happy, Miss Millie.
I'm talking straight, Nevada. You can quit your devilment and be my chief deputy, or you can go to jail. Which will it be?
I'll be thinking it over.
What's the matter?
Why, I'm full. I'm full, I tell you. For the first time in my life. So long, Gurley.
Hey, Nevada, wait for Weary.